All right, y'all, here we go. I'm going to come with you with some quicker format videos, things that have just happened so I can be more current with some of my takes. And this is what I got to do, man. I told you I'm going to bring it on YouTube. But today it is announced from Steve Kerr, not announced, but, it's making headlines. I saw ESPN breaking news, right? And then you get the context of it and you're like, well, yeah, okay. Everybody wants to sensationalize every take. Steve Kerr said they're not expecting Klay Thompson to play this season. We've kind of heard rumblings about that, right? Several studies and doctors say 2 years is optimal. Everybody's different. And if you actually read what people are saying, you have to have the context of it. They're not saying this is what it needs to be, right? And it's saying that's the ideal situation. But again, everybody's different. But I want to give you my take on it. I think, first and foremost, this was Steve Kerr's way of neutralizing the media from asking him about Klay every other day, right? Now, I think Kerr's being honest, and yeah, there's a good possibility of it. Like, we're not expecting it. You have to look at the exact words, right? And so nothing was said definite. But I think it's to diffuse the media from every other game. Well, when Klay gets back, and if you're expecting Klay back, right? And then it also got me to thinking it's perhaps for D'Angelo Russell. It's for D'Lo. D'Lo, all eyes are on him this season and how he's going to perform and live up to this max deal, right? I myself included feel like, it was kind of a cheap all-star bid, but it is what it is. A lot of guys have had that over the years, right? But I think that D'Lo right now is focused on fitting in and how he's going to be used in this system, in this new environment, right? And Steve Kerr, by doing this, maybe takes those questions away from D'Lo, because it's like D'Lo, let's say D'Lo goes for 35 on Thursday. Let's just say this happens, right? And then they go, well, it's amazing, the offense. And then some reporter will say, hey, well, when Klay gets back, and when the rotation changes, well, when Kerr does this, it allows D'Lo to kind of focus on what's going on right now and not have to worry about changing when Klay gets back, because he's already worrying about fitting in now. And so that's just a thought to that, right? But this, again, my take. Now, let's talk about what I think about Klay's injury. I want to first take a look at his injury history, because if you Google it, he was a tank, and those that have watched know he's a tank. He rarely was injured. Maybe a sore back here or an illness there, but he was an NBA Iron Man up until last season, right? But he has the high ankle sprain in the 18 finals. You remember the J.R. Smith incident? Real early into game one, J.R. rolls up under him like a DB in the flats on a tight end. I was so pissed because J.R., given the reputation in the context of the situation, first, I thought he blew his knee out. And second of all, I thought there was no accident from J.R. Smith. So Klay goes limping out, right? Didn't miss a game with a notoriously painful injury and a high ankle sprain, right? And then if you fast forward to this finals, remember it was the hamstring. Remind me if it was game 2 or he did the weird little flail out with his legs on the contest from Danny Green, and he pulled the hamstring. And he missed a game or two, right? And then he came back, and we can argue, did that have anything to do with the ACL? And structurally, yeah, it's all connected. It's a chain. But the way Klay came down, I don't suspect not. But again, the hamstring has a lot to do with the stability in the knee. So, one may have led to the other. Either way, that's what happened. But he played through that. Now, you can make an argument. Is this just being tough? Is Klay just tough as hell? Or does he really just heal fast? And I would say it's a bit of both, right? It's a bit of both. And there's the phrase I'll bring up, hysterical strength. Hysterical strength. And what that is these moments of human strength that can't be explained by science. The example that everybody uses in the stories that you hear are when someone pulls a car off somebody, right? There's a life and death situation, or there's something urgent happening, and people do things. Some things just can't be explained by science. Hysterical strength. And the reason I bring that up is because I just want to point out how strong the mind is, and how there truly is things that are mind over matter. Now you bring that back to who Klay Thompson is. and what his mindset is, right? Who scores, was it 37 or 38, remember in sack, that historic quarter? Just whose mind can even do that, right? Let alone like the things he's played through and just his mentality on the court. And so I bring it back to the mind is going to really dictate a lot of how this healing goes, in my opinion. Now, you have to go through the body, right? Sometimes the body tells the mind and sometimes the mind tells the body. And people are different. He has to go through the rehabbing, the strength, and the conditioning. And that's the difference between today's athletes and yesteryear's athletes, I think. One, the surgeries and the science of how they repair things obviously has become much more optimal. But now they understand it's not about just being healed and getting back out there. There's a whole process beyond that, strengthening the injury and the areas around it and making sure the whole entire chain from whatever side of the body, and we saw that dealt with DeMarcus last season, is strong and firing. It's not compensating because you're on crutches and you're limping and you're not using a certain body part for so long. All of a sudden, all these your chain is off balance. And so that's what today's doctors and sports science know. So sometimes it takes guys longer to get back, but when they're back, they're back. You see Zach LaVine bouncing all over the gym, right? So I say all that to say this. If I were a betting man, if I were to guess, Klay's going to heal fast. If you want to look at the timeline of ACLs, he's going to heal really fast. Now, when it is time, it's not going to just be, oh, he's strong. He's got to be in condition and strong. They're not going to leave any question, right? So when that happens, I don't know. What will the team be? What will the record be? What will the situation be? The context of the season be when he's ready to go? But they can't let that dictate when he's ready to go. When he's ready to go, he's ready to go, if that makes sense, right? Anyway, so not a big deal, but I wanted to touch in. I'm going to have other takes. You talk about the Zion injury opening night on my Patreon. I will cover big game coverage of this LA battle. I expect a lot of juice. Frankly, I expect the Lakers to come out hungrier. And I'll explain probably in the breakdown of that tomorrow on Patreon. Hit that like, share, and subscribe. I'm out, y'all.
I've been winning so long, it's like alchemy.